we are starting up with an interview series, Education Paradise, wherein we'll be meeting some of those educationists who have done some remarkable work in education. We'll be also visiting those institutes which are following some of the best practices in education. I'm sure you are going to like our work. Thank you. Today we are meeting one of the very renowned educationists who has more than 60 years of experience in school education. He has authored more than 100 books. He was an ex-education officer in Kendriya Sangathan. He was a founder principal in Vidyalya, Moscow, Russia. He has trained more than 1,000 of teachers and principals, and he is also responsible for bringing communicative English in India. We are talking about none other than Mr JKGangal. But before we start talking to him, I would also like to show you one of the book which is must to read and is being authored by Mr JKGangal. This is a practical approach to quality education in schools. Hello everyone, today we have with us a very renowned educationist, Mr JKGangal. Welcome to Myedubag, sir.
Thank you.
Mr JKGangal has more than 60 years of experience in education. He is almost double of, that experience is almost double of my age. And sir, we want to know what is the story of yours? How did you
You
come
want
into
to
education?
know its story?
Yes sir, so how did you come into education?
Well, if I can recollect my memory, it dates back to 1951.
Oh,
When I was a student, one day our class teacher came to the class and without our expectation from anybody, he just put a question, what would you like to be in your life? That was the period, when you see there were very limited number of professions,
right.
doctors, engineers, or even businessmen, like that only. Very limited.
Very limited.
Very limited.
Absolutely.
So people naturally, one by one, they said, somebody said doctor, somebody said engineer, somebody said businessman, somebody said I want to assist my father when I grow, all that. When it was my turn, I looked around and very hesitatingly I said, sir, I want to be teacher.
Oh,
He was surprised at my answer. He said, Jagdish, you want to be teacher? I said, yes sir, I want to be teacher. But why do you want to be teacher? I didn't thought of it. And I said, sir, teachers love me a lot. And I also love them in return. And that's the reason that I want to be a teacher. Because love begets love.
right. So that was the reason?
Yes, that was the reason.
Okay.
But you see, though the episode was over, but my answer continued to haunt me. I never knew whether I was right in telling that I was going to be teacher, or it was just something which I might repent later on.
Right.
So for days together, it was haunting me. Then all of a sudden, one day I decided to write a few pages on direct and indirect made easy grammar.
Okay.
Because it used to be very difficult, and it was the time when people thought that if you really want to learn English, learn grammar well.
Yes.
But that was the time when the teachers also told us like this only. So I thought, let me write and let me see whether I can help my friends. So I wrote roughly about 20 pages.
Okay.
And having written those 20 pages, I showed those pages to my teacher. And having gone through those pages, he said, Jagdish, you have written so well, that I feel that you should be a teacher only. When he said I should be a teacher only, naturally he endorsed my earlier decision to be teacher. Right. And this is how I landed into it. I got selected for AG office for the post of UDC.
Okay.
You may call it the auditors.
Yes.
And I underwent a training also for 6 months.
Okay.
Passed in the first attempt. Very few people passed in the first attempt, but I did.
Okay.
But believe me, I never liked the idea of being the auditor. And
the mission was already made.
And then one day I decided to quit it. My father was very unhappy because by the time I was married also,
right.
He said, what are you going to do? You have a child also and you have resigned. I said, I used to call him Lala.
Yeah.
Lala, I don't know whether my decision is right or wrong. God wants me to do something different. And this is the story, how I learned it. And even for a day afterwards, I never repented that I was a teacher. I'm very happy till today. I feel proud that I'm a teacher.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, absolutely. So these days, like, there are so many teachers and there are so many schools which are coming up with. So we can say that the country is flooded with schools and there are so many teachers. But what is that self-introspection which a teacher should do for knowing that whether the teaching is improving or not?
Well, I think introspection, self-introspection is important in the life of everyone,
Right.
not to say a teacher. And in case of teacher, it's all the more important because he's directly linked with another soul, these students,
Right.
who wholly solely depend on him.
Right.
And if he is not able to really do something concrete for them, this is a sheer waste of time on the part of the teacher and also these students.
Yes, yes.
So I think a teacher can find out, first of all, from the faces of these students,
Oh,
the responses he gets from these students.
that's
And then finally, this is how I do, because I am still a teacher. At the end of the workshop and at the end of the teaching lesson part of it, we prepare a kind of questionnaire. And we have got the 5 categories: average, good, very
Right,
good,
right.
outstanding, like that only.
5 grading, right.
And then, based on the responses, if the response, 60% of the response is outstanding, then only I think that my lesson is really successful.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, I feel there is a need for
So
me
that
to do
self-assessment is must.
self-assessment is a must.
Right, right. So, sir, if we say there are 2 ways a learning happens, these which I can understand as a layman. One is through the teacher, another is through the books. So, are books the only way of learning, or are the books only essential material for learning?
Well, books, in fact, right from time immemorial, people have been using books as a tool for learning.
Right.
As a tool for learning. But with due apology, I feel, to me, they are not a must for a person to learn.
Okay.
They are very, very important tool for 2 purposes. Number 1, for information, because every book is the outcome of the soul, the experience of the writer.
Right.
So when a person reads it, he comes to know about the experience of the writer part of it. So this is very important. So I think reading books is important from 2 points of view: for purpose of improvement of communication and for purpose of improvement of the exposure to the different kinds of ideas in which a person may be interested in.
Right, right. And a very important questions which is trending these days, that is digital education. So one is digital teaching and another is digital learning.
Well, these days to think of digital
Yes.
education, without it, this is incomplete.
It is must.
Without this. And if I just use the word, even a literate in the refined form using the mobile.
Yes, yes.
Using the mobile.
Right.
But he doesn't know how to use it properly. My suggestion is, in the laboratory itself, there must be provision.
Mm-hmm.
The children must be helped out how to use these mobiles effectively.
And
Because now it has
Right,
become a
right.
chronic disease. People are
Yes.
worried.
Worried, absolutely.
People are really worried.
They are
And they are worried because the children don't know how to use it.
They don't know the duration basically.
Yes, and duration part.
Right.
So the
go
effective
beyond-
use, the
right.
positive use of
Yes,
this.
yes.
And I think this must be taken up because you can't write them off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the school must provide even the tablet to every child.
Right, right. But with some guidelines.
Yes,
With
with
some
guidelines.
guidelines, right.
Supervised.
Supervision should be there.
Yes. I think at the primary stage it has to be completely supervised.
Supervision, right.
And land the supervision, naturally it has to be reduced slowly and gradually. And later on it may be left at the plus 2 level.
So another question which we really want to know, every student gets homework. Right. So what is the role of homework? Is it really required or is it just an...
Let me be very frank with you. I have coined another word. Homework and work at home. Parents want it, because they want their children to remain busy.
Right.
So if the child doesn't get the homework from the school, they say, what is the school? There is no homework for my child.
Right.
I think in such cases, the parent should insist on the work at home, not homework. Homework. The purpose of homework is the extension of the classroom teaching.
Right.
For purpose of reinforcement. Once it is reinforcement, it has to be very, very short.
Okay.
It should not take more than 10 to 12 minutes. And it has to be of practical nature, application nature. Application based.
Right. So, sir, what is your message to the people who are opting teaching as profession now?
I always think of the three types of teachers.
Okay.
Teachers by choice, teachers by chance, and teachers who are forced
to be teachers.
As you find in case of certain ladies.
Yes.
Their husband forced, well, let there be some supplement to the family's income part of it.
Right.
Why don't you work? And the those ladies become the teachers.
Right.
And they also feel happy. Now they get some extra amount.
Right.
So long as we are able to minus these two, by chance and forced by these circumstances, we will not be able to do much part of it. So, number one, a teacher must just ask the question whether he or she is a teacher by choice or chance. If it is a chance and he cannot leave it now, then it should be like a marriage. You may not like your partner at the time of marriage,
right.
But once you have decided to marry, then you start loving.
You have to go ahead there.
Make the adjustment.
Right.
Definitely every person must ask whether he is teacher by choice or by chance. If he is a choice, then he should try to come from that line to teacher by choice part of it.
Right.
And then comes professionalism. Remember, professionalism means so many things. Every day he has to be prepared, well prepared, what is going on. Because he is not supposed to give the summary of the notes as he received from his forefathers' time.
Right.
He has to provide to the children as per the need. He should look after all kinds of need, academic, non-academic, including emotional need of the children. Right. And for that, there has to be a very strong bond between the teacher and the don. Once this bond gets established, I think the rest of the thing
gets alive.
Yes, the battle is won.
Right.
The battle is won.
Sir, I was also going through one of the book which I really personally I was very liking this book. This is a practical approach to quality education in schools. I like this tagline: reform, perform, and transform. Right. I really want to know your views on this because you have authored this.
Actually, what happened? These three words. I was listening to our Prime Minister Modi program.
Okay.
And he used this word for reform, perform, and transform.
Right.
Then I thought how I could utilize these three words in the context of education.
Wow.
Only thing is, even before reform, now at this stage I feel that I should have added one more word: diagnose. Diagnose.
Right. Unless the diagnosis is not done,
diagnose. So this book gives the diagnosis.
Yes.
This gives the reform. This also helps the teacher and the principal to perform, and then ultimately it gives the result by way of transform. Right. So it's a book which spells out completely what quality education is, how this can be achieved, and what are the obstacles which might stand in the way, but they may be treated only as this obstacle in the hurdle race.
Right.
Once you treat them as the obstacle in the hurdle race, you are not afraid of them. You keep jumping over them and then finally you reach the goal.
So before we wind up, people who are watching this episode, I request them to just go through this book. This is one of a very wonderful book and they should definitely read this book. This is a practical approach to quality education in schools. You can also buy this book from our platform, which is available on Myedubag. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.